Hey gang, what's up? Josh here and you're watching Chimp Skills. And today I want to talk about inspiration, or what inspires you. So for my birthday I got a book which was Elon Musk's autobiography. Now I knew a little bit about him and what he'd done with SpaceX and with Tesla, but not really an idea of how he thought and how he sort of challenged the conventional norms. And that's probably one of the main things I found inspiring about him, was that people would constantly tell him what was impossible, and he would not only achieve those things but blow it out of the park and then set expectations that were even exponentially higher than what was previously considered achievable. So I'll give you a couple examples of what he was able to sort of do thus far. So I started off by making his fortune, I guess, in the dot-com revolution. He started a company in 1995 called Zip2. So this company was basically a cross between a Google Maps and a Yelp, all combined together. So previously at the time, everything was on paper. And when he started up the company, people were like, well, why do you want to put it on the internet? The internet wasn't really a big deal at that stage, and people didn't really think it was going to take off. Heaven behold, he made, I think, $15 million when he sold it to Compaq. So he took that money and then he invested into another company called X.com. So this was like an online financial sort of services company where you could use your email to pay for stuff. Again, the people in the financial sector are like, what's the point? Who really cares? You know, that's why we've got banks and all that kind of stuff. Why would you want to do that? Anyway, after a couple of mergers, it ends up becoming this, what I think is a pretty massive company called PayPal. He sold that to eBay and made $165 million. So at this point you're thinking, shit man, you can live the good life and retire. So this is where I think the dude's crazy. When he was young, he loved the idea of space and exploring space. So he decided to start his own space company, SpaceX. And when he was thinking about starting this, he's like, well, I can go buy some, old missiles from Russia, which can help launch things like satellites, which will give me some contracts and stuff. And he had a couple of dealings with the Russians and he thought they're too expensive. So on his flight home, on his private jet, he did some calculations and he figured out, I can start my own space company. Showed it to his engineers and they're like, well, that checks out. Then he started a space company. Now, people will traditionally tell you, if you're going to do something well, just focus on one thing at a time. Wrong again. So, he starts his space company. He's, reduced the price of launching things into space, exponentially, brought the price down. And now, he actually developed a rocket called the Falcon 9 rocket. So when he was doing his, figuring out, he's like, well, why is it so expensive to launch? And fuel only costs around 3% of what it costs a rocket to get things into space. The main price is that you lose the rocket, after you launch it, the thing goes flying into the ground in the ocean and it's kaput. So this Falcon 9 rocket goes into space, kicks off a pod or something like that, or a craft to go to a space station or whatever, and then it comes back down and lands in the upright position. Which, again, people said, hey, that's impossible, you'll never be able to do that. Not only that, the parts are all reusable and that rocket can get back into space in a matter of hours. So he's created multiple other rockets, small crafts that's docked with the International Space Station. It's called the Dragon or something like that. Heaps of stuff. So like I said, people tell you if you're going to do something well, you have to do one thing. This is where it gets a little bit crazy. The same time when he started SpaceX, his space company, or around that time, he also started an electric car company called Tesla, which has now created 4 models and has become one of the largest producers of electric vehicles. And again, when he started that, people were like, the electric car company, the car thing it's already been and gone, it's a fad, it's not going to work out. Now Tesla's worth I don't even know how much it's worth. Their share price is $250 a share, it's going through the roof. They've just released a sort of mid-size, affordable car, it's $35,000 US. The thing's amazing, goes 0 to 100 in 6 seconds. It's flippin' awesome, and he's been able to do that at the same time as running a space company. So then to add on top of all of that, he also started a solar power company, which helps with his electric car company. And people are like, well, you're not going to make much money out of solar. So he started Solar City, which is now the largest solar company within the US. And then has been able to set up all these charging stations so people with electric cars can charge their car pretty much all around the country. You can drive all the major highways and you're going to have charging points the whole way. So you don't have to pay a cent. It's all paid for. He's also developed the Tesla wall battery, which now you can, take your charge from your solar panels and store it in the house as opposed to having to feed it back in the grid. Like when you look at all the stuff that he's been able to do, constantly defying the odds, and like I said, things that were, industry experts said, this is not possible. He's been able to achieve that, but not only achieve it, but then, raise the bar even higher and then achieve that. Like, yeah, the dude is a fucking winner. And yeah, what I found most inspiring about him was just the way that he challenged the process. And his TED Talk, he's got a cool quote, which I had to, keep a record of. So he talks about having a physics approach to solving problems, which if you want to create something new and innovative, you have to have a fresh approach. So his quote was, boil things down to their fundamental truths and reason up from there, as opposed to reasoning by analogy. So essentially reasoning by analogy, copying what others do and then creating slight variations. So he uses this physics approach when he's looking at creating like a new and an innovative way of doing things, which he's been able to do in multiple disciplines. Some of the things he's got like booked in for the future is getting to Mars, creating a hyperloop, which is kind of like a sci-fi version of like a highway where I don't exactly understand what, but things like cars and stuff will go into pressurized tubes and be accelerated at like huge speeds between sort of major destinations. So I think from what I can see, trying to eliminate air travel and create it like real efficient traveling between major capital cities. And also he's just created a company which is looking at creating open source artificial intelligence. So to even up some of the balance between some of the bigger companies that are investing in AI. But look guys, like that's just someone I found inspirational. Normally my inspiration is with sporting people, so it was kind of nice to have a balance, someone in sort of the science field who's doing like amazing things. Like when you listen to what Elon Musk's why is, like he wants to create electric cars for one, so you can reduce carbon emissions within the earth, and reduce pollution as a whole, so the earth can be sort of a more environmentally friendly place. When he looks at the space stuff, he wants to create habitats away from Earth that are going to be inhabitable, and also just open up people's imagination of what is possible. And then obviously Solar City aligns with his, driving down carbon emissions with the electric cars, and then also being able to use that within the home as well with the Tesla battery. So yeah, I found that all super inspirational, just being able to achieve amazing things, which is going to benefit all of us in the long run. So look guys, I don't know, look for your own inspiration in someone else, and if you can drag a little bit of back into your normal everyday life, and you can use that to challenge the way that we think, then it can't hurt, can it? So until next time guys, give this video a like or share, but until then, peace.